Hey, what's going on? In this very chill stream style video, I want to give you a quick walkthrough of a Godot project I've been working on over the past couple months. It's called Postmaster 7. It's my take on like a Mega Man style game. One of my favorite games ever was Mega Man 7, so I've made this Postmaster 7. It's sort of just my take on the style and the game, and I've been using Godot for it. It's been just a ton of fun to work on. And so in this video, I just wanted to show you a little bit about the game, where it's at right now, and then how it's built in Godot. This specific video, I want to focus on just kind of like how these levels are put together and just how little bits work, like the camera and some of the enemies, some of the reusable scenes I have going on in Godot. Anyway, this has been working out really cool for me, and I'm excited to sort of just show you more. Friendly reminder, if you like this kind of thing as we go, please just, subscribe if you want to see more. I would like to make more videos where we go deeper on some things that will go here. So let's dive right into this. Postmaster 7. We're going to start with a quick screen share of the game itself, and then we'll get into the Godot side. Now first, I'm just going to play the game for a second here, just so you can kind of see what it's all about. I'll go full screen for this. Okay, so platformer, 2D, pixel art. Got a character kind of in the style of Mega Man, blue hat, little homage. Got some different platformer elements. You see the enemies and the bullets. Different tile set backgrounds. We'll talk about how those are working. Just navigate through the level. We got moving platforms, also a work in progress with the art at least. Ladders, vertical transitions, frogs you can kill. Pretty cool. More vertical stuff. At the top, I've got this mail. It happened kind of fast there, but I've got this mail delivery system. There's kind of a bonus objective in each level to not take too much damage or to not fall in certain pits. Otherwise, the packages you're carrying will get destroyed and you can't deliver them. So it's just kind of like a sub objective in the normal level. Got these movable platforms, timed blocks. So this is a solid platform, and then it has a little timer on it, and then it disappears. So you got to kind of time your jumps right. There's another one in context. Watch out for the rollerblade Banana Man heads. Here's a checkpoint. So you touch the mailbox. And now anytime you die, you'll respawn right here at the checkpoint. Got some spikes, more frog. Oh, now I died. Little temporary death sequence there. Now I've respawned. Okay, so back in it. Try this again. If I keep going, here's a new enemy type. He will punch you and throw you all the way back. The frog kind of got in the way. Let's try that again. Pew. Got this like mailman hop thing. Imagine like a mailman like quickly stepping around stones. Oh, here we go. Here's a mail delivery. He wants a video game, so I can drop that off, and now I've completed that objective. Still just kind of messing around with that system, but here's an outdoor area, parallax backgrounds, more of these movable platforms. Still working on like a button press pose for the hero to be in as you move these things around. Just haven't gotten to that yet. A little more polish needed. Another delivery. Prototype demo stuff. By the time anyone actually plays this game, this will be totally different. I just kind of want to show you the feature set that's here so far. Now let's go over to Godot and see how some of this stuff is working. So I think we're going to kick this off in just showing how a general level works. So if I zoom out all the way, this is a stage called Castle Stage, which I'm totally still working on. It's all very work in progress art. There's stuff that's placeholder. There's stuff that's clearly just not done. So you're going to see that through this whole session. But nonetheless, I have found a pattern I like for kind of building out these long platformer levels, which is new to me. I've sort of built one of these games before, like years and years and years ago, but not to really like this feature set. And so here I'm just kind of panning through the level. You can see everything that's going on all the way to this boss fight at the end. And if I just zoom out again one more time and kind of come over here, you can see in the scene tab that this is actually built out only of a couple handful of different sub-room scenes. I call these segments in a level. So if I just kind of start taking them out, you can see that's the first one, that's the second one, here's the third one, and you get it. It just kind of keeps going. This one has 4 and a short little boss one. And that's so I can kind of arrange the levels in these big horizontal ways, but still grab the individual parts and change them. The only other thing I have in the stage itself is this node called Hero Spawn. So again, going back to the beginning, You'll see this green one. Let's zoom in a little bit. This green one right here is where the stage starts in production builds. So if I export the game, the hero is going to start right here. The level is designed around the hero starting right here. The little green area here, if I just go into this scene, is just like a little spacer for myself to make sure that the hero always starts centered in the grid of the screen size of the game. We'll talk more about that next. But that's why you see this kind of green area here. It's just nice knowing that as long as this lines up with the edges here, I know the hero is going to start in a correct, valid spot. So I'll put that back where he goes. But the thing is, if you were just to work on the game and start in the same spot every single time, you might be working on something that's like way over here, right? And to quickly test that, you don't have to play through the entire level to get to that part. Instead, we need some kind of quick tool to warp the hero somewhere else as a development starting point. And that is why I have this other node, Hero Dev Spawn. I don't even know where it is right now, but a cool feature in Godot is you can click a scene on the left here, right-click anywhere in the canvas, and say Move Nodes Here. Just like Harry Potter, Accio style, the node just kind of snaps to where your cursor is. So now I have this Hero Dev starting point here. I can just drag this to whatever part of the level I want to work on. Like I'll just go right here. I'll load up the game. I have a hotkey for F5. And boom, I'm right here. You can kind of see that's me. That's the enemy. I can get punched by the guy. Pretty cool. And so again, I can just grab the, go somewhere totally else in the level to these like vertical platform things, move the scene here, run a build, and boom, I'm starting right here. So that allows me to sort of just quickly navigate through the level and, efficiently kind of put the hero where he needs to be for me to work on a specific section of a level. Okay, I forgot to turn my light on. Now it's on. Anyway, let's talk about the screen resolution for the game. You can see that the grid itself is kind of organized into these like 16 by 9 rectangular areas. And that is a grid setting I have in this Godot project. Normally you'd see the kind of like divider lines be an even grid by default. But if you go in here, configure snap maybe. Yeah, I have the grid configured for this project at 25 steps horizontally and 14 steps vertically. And that's what's creating this kind of like rectangular shape instead of squares. I forget what the default here is, but it's probably like, 16, something like that. But anyway, the idea is that when you look at the game, if I load it up again, you see exactly this. Every level is designed in this shape of rectangle. Just works for this particular style of game. So when I open up just one of these segments, like we talked about before, I'll open up the first one, zoom out a bit. This is where all the guts of the segment is. So I look at it, and now it's got like the detail of where all the enemies start and some like pitfalls and stuff like that. All of these little blocks I can take and move around and quickly kind of just build up a new part. Like I could take that, move it around. I've got some 9 slices set up here, which is not really what they're for. It's just kind of like a weird thought experiment to try it this way, but to quickly design the rectangles of levels, I can just grab something and then like change the size of it. The 9 slice will apply the tile set, and then later I can come in and paint more specific tiles on top of it. We'll see that in a different stage where it's working a little bit better, but I can just iterate on the different stage segments in that way and then come back to the whole view. And here you can see that change I made is right here. So kind of cool. That's been working out pretty well. Each segment itself is kind of like got a couple different groups going on in it. They don't actually functionally really do that much, but it's just more for me to stay organized as I like build these things out. For one, we got a couple parallax backgrounds going on, and each segment of the background is designed in that perfect screen size, which I don't think I've said so far. It's 400 pixels wide by 224 tall. And I finally just have that committed to memory. I had to like write it down and keep referencing it because when I grab like a section, you see that is just an asset that's baked at that size. That is good for quickly scaling up a level and kind of doing the broad strokes. But then when it comes time to like super detail things, that's where I make a tile set and then come in and like paint individual tiles. But you can see there's a couple different layers here. That's like the back layer. This is the same idea. The mountains and then bushes. And then if we just fire up this spot, we can kind of zoom in on that a little bit. Go find it way over here. Start the game right here. You can see when the character moves, the different layers kind of move at slightly different paces, which gives that parallax effect. So kind of cool. Anyway, back in this one segment, this is also where I have things like individual enemy spawns. So this little box right here, oops, I got 2 selected. This little box right here, oh, they're grouped. That seems like a mistake. They shouldn't be grouped like that. Oh, well. Let me just undo that real quick. If I had a weird bug in the game, that's probably why. But basically, this enemy right here, this is a specific spawn scene for this kind of enemy, which is this little, like, I got it called drop and fly spawner, which is a bird that kind of drops in from the ceiling. And then when it reaches the eye level of the hero, it kind of juts toward the hero. Wherever this green box is, that's where the enemy is going to spawn when the box itself kind of enters into the game viewport. Let's see if I can demonstrate that really quick. I'll run over here. It's kind of over here. Yeah, there he is. He spawns and then he flies. This style of game, or at least kind of the style I'm going for, is the Mega Man model where enemies respawn when they leave the screen or come back onto the screen. So if I just like go back over here, come back over here, the bird is going to spawn again. That also applies to like stationary enemies like this frog. I'll kill him real quick and then I'll come back and he's going to be back. It's just a thing that the Mega Man games do. That I started with as a starting point for this project. Doesn't mean I'll keep it necessarily. I'm still unsure about that in particular. But anyway, that's how it's achieved. It's like the scene doesn't start with the enemy itself. The scene starts with just this spawner scene. And if we crack open the scene itself, it doesn't really do anything, but it's one script it does. It's a little abstracted into something called an enemy spawn component. But basically it knows which scene it's going to open, and that's the actual enemy scene, which is like a character body 2D that has gravity and all that. So we can open that up. We'll search for jumpingfrog.tscn and find it. And here you can see the actual enemy. So we got a couple different things going on here. The actual sprite, what he looks like, the animation. He's got a couple different animations. I guess just jump on this character, but some enemies are more complex and do more things. But you see a couple different jumping frames, collision shape 2D, just the footprint of the enemy itself, and then a couple different like abstracted reusable area 2Ds that all the enemies use. One is something called accept hero damage, which means that this thing can be damaged by hero bullets. That way I don't need to re-implement like collision code with the hero bullet every single time. If this area 2D intersects with a hero bullet, then the enemy will basically flash and take some damage. And then there's a couple things on here that you can configure, like how much health they have. I forget where that is. And then conversely, we have the opposite idea where this enemy also has something called a hero damager area 2D. Inconsistent with some naming things. I would go in and clean this up. But the spirit of this project has basically been just like add something quick, move on to the next thing, to try to like really prototype this game out before we come back in and really do everything in super detail and cleanliness. So as we look at some of the code, you're going to see some kind of gross stuff here and there. Most of it's like, okay, fine enough. It's been good for me. I'm like the only person working on this game really right now. So it's been fine, but some things I'd definitely come in and clean up. But anyway, this scene basically says that if this frog has an hero damager area 2D, you can set what kind of damage it does when you collide with the hero. So the only 2 examples I have so far are normal and fire, but you can maybe imagine the difference between getting hit with like a bolt of electricity or I don't know, some magic or something different than is just like normal impact, or fire. And we'll see that. We'll look at the fire level next. But anyway, all the other enemies are kind of composed in the same way. If we just look at the stage again, let's find another one. Banana Man, he's a classic. He's kind of like the Sniper Joe. If you're a Mega Man fan, you know who Sniper Joe is. He's kind of like the Sniper Joe of this game, but he's called Banana Man. So we'll look at his scene, and you'll see kind of the same stuff. He is a character body 2D. He's got the similar ideas where he can damage the hero, but he can also accept enemy damage, and then he's got a flasher. When he accepts the damage, his sprite 2D will flash white and then flash back to normal. That's achieved with just like a sprite modulate all the way to white. I built a utility in here called action timer, which basically is just a 1-line wait with a reference to the parent, and that enables this like little debug thing that I'll show you in a second. But essentially it's just saying like, hey, when you get hit, play your impact sound effect, turn flashing to true. So do this sprite modulate. Is flashing is used elsewhere, I think, in like knocking down the there it is. It's basically if you're already flashing white, it's not going to restart the process. In fact, in that case, we have this other little like this little indicator that the bullet's not doing anything. But if it is going to do something, we play the sound effect, we start flashing, turn white, we wait for just a little bit of time, and this is configurable per usage of this component. And then when we're done, we just reset the modulate, which basically will just put the sprite back to normal and then reset the flag too. So we're ready to accept damage again. Pretty cool. We put that all together. Let's take a look. We'll move over to near a banana man, hit play, and see he flashes white when you hit him. You'll see this little thing he has, in the top left corner of his sprite. That just means that it's a work in progress frame. It's a reminder to me that it's like, hey, this art isn't done. You need to come in and make this frame a lot better. It's all over the place in this project. When you defeat him, he kind of drops these little pickups, so you can collect those, and they do a little celebration sparkle. I'm not totally sure what that's going to be in the game yet, but it's some kind of feeling of like collecting or experience points or some kind of thing like that. Okay, the last thing I want to talk about before we move on to the fire scene, the fire level, is what we just saw on screen there, which I took too much damage and that failed the delivery. So basically, when you start up the level, you get this little indicator of like, hey, you got 4 deliveries to make in this level. Remember, you're a mailman in this game. So you basically have 4 different characters to find in the stage. But the thing is, each delivery that you do has a little bit of a test to it. So for example, if you take too much damage doing one of the deliveries, then you might fail it. And you can still go on and complete the level, but to get 100% completion in this run of the level, you might need to dodge certain types of projectiles. You might need to avoid certain characters. You might need to do something in a certain amount of time. A lot of that is still being figured out, but I just have the placeholder system in there where if like something happens, you might fail a delivery. But if you haven't failed, let's see. We can reset our clock here. So basically what I'll do is go find one of these delivery people, someone that's patiently waiting in the castle for you to bring them a package. Here we go. Here's one up here. Move my spawn near there. And then I already made this delivery earlier. That's why you see these green check boxes. But I built this little utility into the pause menu, very work in progress pause menu, but just the escape key brings that up. You can say clear local data, and that will clear out the save file that's saved to the machine of the game, so that it won't remember the things you've done. In fact, those are what are printing out down here when the game starts. So anyway, I cleared local data. I'll reboot the game. Now I don't have any deliveries done yet, so I'll go up, deliver the controller he wants, and now he's happy, and the game's saved under the hood. So just a quick example of making one of those deliveries. Here we have some vertical movement, where the game really is horizontal mostly, but there are these elements of like going up and down, and that's where we have ladders. This particular stage has these little vertical platform things. There needs more juice here. I plan to let the hero press the button when he's moving up or down. It's just kind of a thing specific to this stage, so I haven't spent much time on those yet, being honest. The camera itself is also locked to one of these grid segments. So this shape here, the camera is always going to be locked in right here, and moving either this way. But some of these segments are marked. In fact, I can show it to you. But basically, they're marked in a way that says, hey, don't go beyond the right point of this box. So let's pull up one of these stages. I'll go to this one. The very top node in each stage segment is this guides area. And if I just kind of hide some stuff, turn off some art, you can see stuff reduces down to nothing. There we go. Each segment is laid out with these green boxes. That's the first thing I do before coming in and layering in the art. But that's where you can see the general shape. And each one of these is actually a scene on its own called a camera size design guide. And each one is marked with certain flags for the camera to know when to stop, so it can't go beyond a certain point, or it kind of knows when it's in a vertical versus a horizontal section. So if I am looking at this one, that's normal, and these are locked just so I don't accidentally goof anything up. I'll unlock them for us here. but I got to remember to put that back. So anyway, so this first one, it's just doesn't do anything. There are these 2 check boxes up here called limits camera left and right. Those are not checked here, but here you can see that there's nothing over on this side of the green box. And so I want to make sure that the camera stops. And that's why this particular node is marked with limits camera right. So it can still go to the left, but it won't go beyond the right point of this node. And then same up here, left and right are both locked. That way this camera only moves vertically. Same here, but then up here we get to a spot where the right area is opened up. So it's locked on the left, but then on the right, it's allowed to move to the right. That kind of influences some of the ladder positions and things too. Now, you might be like, oh, there's a way to automate that. You wouldn't have to do that all manually. And dude, I get it. Trust me, I've done that. I've tried them all. What I found is that I wanted something really simple that was easy to change and iterate. And, I'm cool with like checking boxes here or there. I found the real sweet spot for this type of game is to be really actually like intentional with every little thing that's placed rather than just continuing to place. So rather than just automating everything and letting the automation do the work, I was kind of like, you know what, I'm fine with just being simple and just kind of get some stuff in the game to try it. So no need to overthink it. So let's go and just see this part in context. Okay, so one last time in this stage, we will open up our castle scene. Oh, I got to show you the boss too, though. So sorry, it's going to be a little bit longer before we get to the fire, but it'll be sort of worth it, I think. Here's that area that we just walked through. So I'll grab my hero dev spawn, move it kind of here, and I'll call out where the camera stops. So here it's just free-flowing horizontal. Let me grab that checkpoint there. That mailbox is a checkpoint, so I can respawn there later. So I'm going over, and now you see the camera stops. So even though the hero is all the way to the right, I gotta get this banana man out of the way, the camera stops kind of right here. Go up the ladder, vertical transition. Now the camera's not moving on left or right. There's a bug with those banana heads. You just disappeared like that. Here over to the left, not going anywhere. Go up again, still locked. Do some mailman jumps here. Get all the way up to the top. And now we're at that top area. Where was that? Up here, where now the locking is freed on the right side. So now the camera can keep going. So anyway, that's just kind of how that works. It's been working out pretty well so far. Okay, finally, before we move on from this stage, Godot is clogging. There we go. I'm going to show you the boss doors just because that kind of fits into the camera thing. And it's like an iconic Mega Man style homage that I think is really cool. So I'll move the hero scene right here to the end of the level. I've got some work, just some demo placements of these little timed platform things here. Also very work in progress, fire pit launchy things. Took this idea from Mega Man 7. Anyway, if I go to the end, the camera locks right here in front of this boss door. I'm going to touch the boss door. It's going to pull the hero through and move the camera over exactly one of those screen dimensions with a Godot tween. So it just moves the camera over. The camera itself kind of has a method on it that allows you to enter a guided mode instead of a following mode for you to do these sort of like cutscenes. Just a couple little helper methods I added to the camera. Got a checkpoint before the boss, of course, so I can grab that. And still need a lot of art detail in this room, but it's got the basic shape right now. And then the same thing will happen when I go into the actual boss room. So touch the door, get pulled over. The boss is ready to go. This boss right here, see, he snaps into action. He creates a life bar, and then he starts jumping around. Super work in progress. This boss fight kind of sucks, if I'm being honest. But, just like a starter placeholder for some stuff. So I can beat down the boss and then, be done with the level. He killed me, though, so it is what it is. Okay, cool. So that's one level. One thing I have built into the game is that you can pause at any time and go to something called the home screen. And the home screen is just a way to kind of navigate to different levels. Right now, the game is set up to launch in the castle stage, but there's also other stages like Flame Machine. And here's kind of what this stage looks like. It's got these moving platforms, at least on the left side. The right side has a thing I changed last night in it and didn't change the right side too. So that probably looks funny. Some of these other little mechanics to it, like the platforms go this way and this way, but you can hit that little target thing and now the arrows switch. So that can empower some cool level design stuff. This level itself is very I've only just started it. So I've got a couple different little pieces of art, like the little flame ideas. Let's see, I can try out my cool jump. I've got this thing where the hero can hero jump and then jump again in midair to sort of make these more difficult jumps. But it's very like, there's no juice to it. There's no like proper animations or anything. So it looks kind of cheap right now. But anyway, jump in midair so I can make that jump. Normally this game is very like go to the right instead of the left, but I'm just kind of trying to show you the level. Got some like fire fence here. Oh, these are cool. This is a countdown platform. So as soon as you touch it, it's going to start counting down, and then it blows up when you get to the end. That's just, like a regular platform with some art to it. Art has an animation player. When it gets to the end, it spawns a bunch of these little individual explosions, and then the platform's gone. Like came together really quick. Here's two more. 1, 2. I do need to add something that puts those platforms back, because right now once you use them, you're stuck and you can't go back. So that will be coming. Got these like stacking block things, which I don't want to, for the same reason, I don't want to blow that up because I won't be able to continue, but basically you can keep hammering this thing until it explodes. And then here's just a bunch of like art problems and errors. Some fire savvy stuff, and that's Flame Machine. So let me look in the Godot side and show you that kind of in reverse. So Flame Machine, this is built in the same way where I just zoom out a little bit. The different areas of the level are in different segments, and I can kind of design each segment individually. So it can kind of like show and hide individual ones there. I'll go ahead and start this up at the beginning. So grab our hero. This looks like the same structure, but basically all the stages have the same idea of like this different types of hero spawns that you can change as you need. So for hero dev spawn, I'm going to move that over here. I'm going to go into my main scene, which I haven't shown you yet, but every game, every Godot project needs a main scene, the absolute root of the project that boots up when you build, the default scene. And for me, literally all it is one, node 2D, and then it's got the canvas stuff in it. So this is where like the HUD elements sit on screen, like saving the boss life bar if it's there, even though there's a piece of code that comes in and immediately hides it. I don't know if it'll stay this way. This is just kind of how I have it set up right now. Different, the little HUD for the deliveries. And again, they just start with the default avatars, but then the avatars change based on which stage you're on. So really just the main scene is like the canvas, the HUD canvas, and then this one script. And this one script comes in. There's a couple things in here, but basically the only real important thing that I want to show you is this area here. There's a function called mount stage, and that's basically what happens first. First, I just have the different options commented out, so I can quickly come in here and like change them. So we'll start on Flame Machine. There's post office, there's castle. Test lab is like where I, try out all the different ideas before they're in context of a stage. But basically what this is going to do is load the stage itself in memory. So that's like the game starts empty, and then this whole thing gets loaded. Like one stage is loaded at a time. It gets loaded, and then it adds the camera, it adds the hero to the stage at the correct spawn position, and then does some like signaling stuff to say like, hey, the level's ready. There's some more like filling out of presentation to do here, but basically what happens is the game mounts with almost nothing present, and then the stage itself loads, and that has like everything inside it. Anyway, all that to say, with that change, now I start at the beginning of this level, which has all these conveyors and stuff. Still working on all this, of course. And then I just, keep continuing to iterate on this and work on it. One thing I'll touch on really quick, I think the reason that I wanted to show you this level is really kind of how tile sets play in. To this point, I've shown you kind of how like broad ideas work. Like this background is not a tile set. It's just one baked asset that covers one of those like ideal screen sizes. Just found that to be a good way of working. But then you get into an area like this, where like this kind of background layer is actually painted with a tile set. So I'll come in and find where that is. Basically, each room segment has a couple different parts to it. Here's that background that's happening in the back, and then right after that we have this tile map layer. that loads in the tile set for this stage that just has like a couple little decorative things on it. I worked on this for like, I don't know, 30 minutes last night or so. So there's still just a lot more to do here. But basically, if I zoom in on this, you can see that like, you know, these tiles, I can go in and like paint some more with this tile map layer activated. I can come in and like paint some detail on top of the parallax background. That actually looks really bad, so I shouldn't have done that. But maybe right here, if I wanted to add like a little background, you know, I could start with these little ridgy guys, you know, do some more, paint some of the more detailed slides on here, detailed tiles, and maybe, you know, some placeholder envelopes. And then now, you know, that part just looks a little bit nicer. That's kind of a new addition to the workflow of this game, but I definitely want to like go back through some of the older stages that I did first, fill in more tiles in that way. Anyway, I think that's the end of this particular video. I just want to say thank you for watching. If you have any more specific questions about how any of this stuff is working, please just leave a comment. I'd love to make more videos in this style because it's really easy and really chill. And then, of course, as always, if you're working on a game, this frog is going to kill me. If you're working on a game, be sure to join our Discord server. It's linked below. A ton of great independent game developers that are, you know, doing the solo game dev thing. We'd love to hear about what you're working on and maybe share any tips or advice if you need help, if you need to find some partners to help you work on the project with. That's a really great place to find people and interact with other people that are kind of doing the same thing. So be sure to join that. The link is in the description below. One last thing, this year we're really trying to ramp up our newsletter. Believe it or not, been quiet about it, but we do have a community newsletter where we share out kind of just the most interesting things that are going on in our game dev community. If you're interested in getting very periodic updates, no spam ever, just throw your email address in there. We're giving away a couple free sprites that you can use in your games, just as a kind of a thank you for signing up, and then some like promo codes too to the more full paid courses that I've created over time and continue to create. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much for watching this kind of thing. Again, looking forward to making more videos like this one. So just let me know in the comments what you want to see, and I'll catch you next time. See ya.